One day Tyler messages him and is like, "Yo, dog, your voice is fucking sick."
This
is what I imagine his voice sounds like. He goes, "I got a beat pack for you." I was like, "All right, send it." He sends it. First beat's called like Syphilis. I was like, who the fuck is this nigga, dog? Like, I remember I'm talking, and Alex is like, he's at this point we were kind of like closed off in like the creative people we were working with, so he was down to expand. DMX and a lot of the artists like him, they sacrifice themselves in order for other people to feel like somebody relates to them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And like the greater an artist is, to me, is the more they're able to make other people feel not alone in whatever they're going through.
Or able to make people feel connected. You know what I mean?
And
that's why
for the pain that DMX represented, that's a very deep pain.
Yeah, that's true.
For the black man, you know what I'm saying, and the black woman and the black person in America. Like, he kind of took the compounded pain and struggles and everything fucked up that can come from that, from not having a dad to having a mom.
To his mentor lacing crack in his blunt.
Yeah, all those things that kind of come from an environment that has been built upon you, and then you have to just crawl out of hands and knees.
For sure.
He sacrificed himself for people to feel not alone in that. And that's obviously, it makes sense why he has mental health issues and why other artists have mental health issues. Somebody else's pain is basically our entertainment. Oof. And it's pretty crazy when you look back on it, you know? That's a bar.
We were also chatting before we started about how mental health has kind of been this emerging thing that more people are talking about. Don't you feel like that was so prior to COVID sort of taking over? And then don't you think COVID maybe like poured gasoline on that fire?
I think COVID just advanced pretty much every conversation in the world. It's like, I feel like no matter what side of the fence you sit on, everybody wants the whole world to change. They want the government to change. They want their money to change. They want the society to change. Everybody just has like...
Unless you were born like before 1950. I'm still convinced like when you're with that...
But that era is gone. Like, everybody wants the new 1950, you know?
Wait,
like,
what do you mean everybody wants the new 1950?
Like what's the new Pleasantville? Like, what's the new, like, something to actually aspire towards? Yeah. Because it's like everybody knows the American dream is like a fraud in some ways, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's that's like...
Let's talk about that, bro. That's worth breaking down. Like, how's it a fraud? And like, I mean, like, where did it go wrong?
I think it's like it's a fraud in presentation. You know what I'm saying? It's like over time we've learned, like, it's like that one video where they show where people it's kind of like the analogy you said. It's like where people start off in life. So they have like 100 kids line up at like the scrimmage line of a football field and said, which one of you have 2 parents? Then they walk up 5 yards. Then which one of you went to high school? Walk up 5 yards. Which one of you get weekly allowance? Walk up 5 yards. And once you start to look at it, it's like there's kids already at the 70-yard line. Most of the kids at the 5 or haven't even walked up yet. Black kids. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like all these little things that help you move forward in American society. Even if you stood in the fucking Grove and you just stood and took 100 random people until you could do a random population breakdown of how America is. So if out of every 100, 13 of them are black and 7 is Asian, whatever. If you broke that down, I feel like you would still get the same kind of results.
So you're not even feeling that it existed, the American dream existed at some point in time, like, and then it faded? Like, no. You're saying it never really existed.
I mean, it existed for white people. Like,
I think that's true. I think that's true. That's the whole make America great again vibe.
That's like that.
It's bizarre to me. You know,
I get why they want that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what is that? Survival of the fittest. You guys go back to where you were at. Go back to where you're from. That's when you start saying shit like that.
If you're used to privilege, equality feels like you're being marginalized.
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden you're losing your power.
Yeah.
And we live off power. Like that's how the society works.
I feel like it's like Chris Rock said in one of his stand-ups, bro. Like, he lives in like obviously the nicest neighborhood ever.
In Jersey.
Did you hear him share about that? He's like, man, I know that guy had to do this and that guy had to do that, but I had to do 20 times what they had to do.
That guy's just a dentist.
Remember that?
He goes, he's just a fucking dentist. You just go to fucking school for that. Ain't no fucking school for like making fun of your fucked up life in front of everybody and showing your ass. Like it's kind of crazy.
Wow.
But that's you know.
That's as real as it gets right there.
That's what America kind of is.
Yeah.
You got to dancing.
Yeah. On the flip side, the people that are brought up in like supreme privilege, I feel like they go fucking crazy too.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I got a $12 million jet and I'm looking at the guy with like the $40 million jet and I feel worthless. They got that shit going on.
Yeah, that's mad. Again, that's like mental health issues. At that point,
those are mental
health issues. Like you're over here.
But you agree, absolutely, those people do exist and those people do kill themselves. That's real shit.
Like, somebody bought us a $40 million jet and you have a $12 million jet. You're tweaking out about that. Like you got mental health issues.
You got mental health issues. That's real shit. It's hard to feel sympathy for that person with the $12 million jet and the $40 million jet. But the fact of the matter is, bro, is no, like they're in pain too. It sounds ridiculous. It's hard for me even to like be like, man, I sympathize, but like pain is pain at the end of the day. Like it's mental health issues or mental health issues. A lot
of the things in life are. It's like a lot of things in life are what cause pain for people. It's like they say some of the most unhappy people are the richest people. It's like, what is that? More money, more problems. The more you get, the more bullshit comes with it. The more stuff you have, the more stuff you have to maintain. The bigger your house, the more money you got to spend to keep the big house. My process in this career started probably my whole life. Like my parents raised. Both my parents from third world countries, so music is how we learned English.
Didn't know that. Yeah.
Is how they learned English. Like popular culture is how they learned English in a lot of ways. Watching James Dean movies or Marilyn Monroe movies or Michael Jackson and Prince and Elton John, and that's the shit.
So there's a lot of pressure, I feel like, for third world country people to have a kid. Like, yo, you have it so much easier than us. You better make shit happen. Am I right?
Honestly, I feel like the American dream is a lot more understood for kids like us than African Americans that have to grow up in America, because like there's much more of an attachment to no attachment. Like they don't have any understanding of where they come from in a lot of times, in a lot of ways, because that's what America did. They cut off slaves from their roots and their culture and who they are and where they're from, and they had no ties back to Africa, and they took away their names and gave them names like Johnson and William and all kind of shit named after the slave owner who owned them. So like on a mental health level, like they've gone through 400 years of slavery, whereas for us, as like being first generation Americans, like we are kind of showing up in America as America's kind of changing, as it's constantly kind of uprooting all the fucked up shit that America's built off of. So we have this unique opportunity where we have parents who don't have none of that on their head. All they have on their head is, I used to live in the worst fucking conditions I've ever lived in. Here we have the opportunity and to put you through these schools.
They're not bringing the baggage. They don't have the baggage.
It's all opportunity. You know what I'm saying? It's all a positive thing. Where like the other way around.
That's a very, very good point.
If you're like you grow up, if you grew up in America as a black person, there's so much fucked up next level shit that you are holding on to and baggage that is going through your family and through your world and through your mind. It is impressive for anybody to have that on their shoulders and to make something positive out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a wonder why, people come from other worlds and run here because there's a billboard saying the American dream, but there's nowhere for Americans when they look out that says, oh, this dream. You know what I'm saying? And like, a lot of what people like, Burna stand for is like, yo, come back to Africa. Like, there's a lot there for you guys to learn from and get reconnected with and regrow from and build out from. So yeah, that's how I learned English, was like through popular culture, and like it was always like music was always number one. Like the first time I had money, probably I had like $20 when I was 7, and I bought Master P The Last Dawn 2 was the first CD I bought.
I think I remember that one. It was
the one where he did all the
It had like the ridges on it. It
had like the chain, and he looked like a fucking like pimp Monopoly. It was green and gold, and they said, you know what a horse is? It's a pig that don't fly. Yeah, that whole shit. So my dad walked me. I got the parental advisory version. My dad walks me in. He goes, get anyone you want. I got the Last Dawn too. That's like, I was like, yes, for sure. Probably more than $20 back then. CDs like $24.99, especially their hologram double CD shit. So I got that, and then I got No Way Out, Puff Daddy, and and the Bad Boy Family, probably not too far along after that. So
I got Lawyers Watching Lawyers So I Don't Go Broke. It's a Biggie line, am I right? Yeah.
So you already know what it is. So that was like, so that's how I started like learning how to assimilate with my fellow students at school, and like growing up, that's how I kind of caught on. And like, my dad was super like into it. Like my dad loved Tupac and loved Kumo D and fucking Biggie and LL Cool J and all that shit. So like he's putting all that on to me like from when I'm like 4 or 5 years old. Like it's basketball and music. I just ended up kind of always leaned to both. Like I thought I was gonna be a baller my whole life. I was Tebe, Earl Sweatshirt's mentor.
I remember that.
Yeah, so Tebe was really like the first artist, probably like, I was like 15, he was 11. And like from when he was 11, that kid was just like, yo, I'm going to be the biggest rapper in the world.
Pre-Tyler.
This is pre-Tyler. Yeah. This is like, he was just like a wild little kid. Like he had ADD or something. Like I never seen anybody like him yet. And at that time he was doing music. He was doing comedy. He was like at the Boys and Girls Club out on this side actually. They had a studio in it. So he would be recording there. And then like every month he had like a comedy show there. He was just a really talented kid. I remember he was like, yo, let's make a crump group. This is like right after Rise. So like Crumpin' and all that, like Mr. Tommy the Clown and all that was still popping. So he was doing his crump shit. He's like, oh, you could be this guy. I was like, bro.
You're wild.
Listen, you're about to go to a private school, like all that.
That's so funny.
I'm like, it was fun. Like I really loved him and his energy, and we stayed close after that. Like even when I went to Morehouse that year, he ended up going summer school at Morehouse. Like I was close with his mom's, the whole thing up until he like. I remember I had his first project, Earl. He sent it to me first, probably right when it was finished. I remember listening to it. That wasn't.
Did that have French on it, where they put the drugs in the blender and like blend them? That was there, right?
Okay, that was the first video. He sent me all that. He's like, yo, I'm about to put this out. I was like, yo, it was crazy. You killed it. Like I loved it. And then like he was gone. Like
Mom saw that video and was like, yo, like you're gone.
Within like 2 weeks of that, he was gone. And it's like it was crazy. But I ended up.
Did you stay in touch when he was gone?
We talked a little bit, but then it got to a point where like he was fully in it. Like he wasn't really reaching out to anybody, and the Odd Future shit was going crazy. So like everything was just mad.
You saw it with Earl though, just to be clear. Like you knew how talented dude was.
Yeah, all his first songs were produced by like my brother Cecil from somewhere else, and now he's an amazing producer. He works with all the artists from Burna to Neighborhood to Umi and so many things outside of that.
Yeah, I was always a fan of Cecil. Yeah.
So Cecil, all of from when
4E, correct?
Yeah, 4E. So when Earl was Sly before he was Earl Sweatshirt. That's like before he became Odd Future. He had a song called Molly Wop that was produced by Cecil. He had a song called That Ass that was produced by Cecil.
Can people listening still look these up on YouTube?
Yeah, if you look up Sly, That Ass, or Sly Molly Wop and all that, it's still out there. So
that's crazy. I mean, I think it'd be crazy to tap into like Earl pre-OF. You know what I mean? Like just see what he was up to.
He was just like, you couldn't believe he was 11 or 12 rapping like that.
Wow.
He was like really like insanely intelligent. Like you could tell that his dad was a poet and his mom was a teacher, and like he grew up like, well, he had the right kind of educational
it's no surprise
tools, you know what I'm saying, to be as advanced as he was, and talking about the shit he was talking about. It was just like he was really, really, really good and really
I look
talented.
at that like you look at Kanye's like, you know, upbringing, same idea.
Very similar thing. And like Tebe stuff is deep rooted. Like his dad is from South Africa, so he has like these ties back home, and like here in America. So it's just like really next level kid in every single way. Picked him up from school one day. I'm like, yo, bring you to the studio. Brought him to the Hive. He recorded it. I think he did That Ass there. I remember I brought Odd Future and stuff to the people I was working with, and they were like, nah, this is like some devil shit. We ain't gonna get it. Like, we ain't gonna get no money.
Yo, Tyler's wild though, right?
Yeah, like Tyler,
has Tyler been that wild?
Always.
Yeah,
I remember like Tyler.
Give me a nice Tyler story.
We've known each other since we were young. Since we were real young. Like since we were like 14, 15. So the stories that we have are just go way back. I guess a real simple one I could give. So told you I was working with the kid Alex.
Yeah.
So Alex, when he was putting out music, I was his manager then. I just didn't know what the fuck a manager was. I was just like helping him with everything. I was running his MySpace. We were figuring out videos, creating all this shit. So I was running his MySpace. One day Tyler messages him and is like, yo, dog, your voice is fucking sick. I'm doing
Tyler.
This is what I imagine his voice sounds like. He goes, I got a beat pack for you. I was like, all right, send it. He sends it. First beat's called like Syphilis. I was like, so who the fuck is this nigga, dog? Like, I remember I'm talking, and Alex is like, he's at this point we were kind of like closed off in like the creative people we were working with, so he was down to expand. And Tyler had a lot of the same like influences that we had at that time. We were obsessed with Pharrell, basically anything Pharrell touched.
Yeah, in my mind was like his favorite album of all time, which is
that was
hilarious.
all of ours. Like it was that between Entourage and In My Mind that basically shaped an era of creative people, definitely in LA, from like Tyler's, just a bunch of different kids. I feel like we all kind of like came up in that era of like the Neptunes and Pharrell. Kind of just, I remember there was one time, one out of every 2 songs on the top 40 was produced by the Neptunes.
Odd Future and like Earl, when they were first trying to get on though, like they were so different.
Tyler's just next level. Like Tyler, to me, I was thinking about it not too long ago. I'm like, he's probably like our Pharrell.
Next gen Pharrell,
Kanye, but I feel like he has his head on more straight than Kanye. Some more Pharrell. But he's like the next billionaire kind of creator.
Yeah.
The shit that he used to like draw on his jeans when he was 14 is like the designs now that you see on all this golf link. I'm like, bruh, he's been that person. My best friend, Tommy, he was working at Diamond Supply back when
Fairfax,
when it was north of Rosewood. It was a small ass spot, and Brock Marciano, who's now popping ass A&R.
Brock in the sandals.
Yeah, he used to be the manager there. And Jimmy Gurecki, who was former captain of Ice Cream Skate Team, he was a general manager there too. So it was like the 3 of them. They were bringing everybody by, like YG, Chris Brown. They were just bringing the hood.
That makes sense.
And like the culture. They're bringing the culture into Diamond and like built a whole culture out of that.
Yeah.
And Tyler was like their like runner. He would go get them drinks and shit from like the corner store.
Bro, that's
like,
crazy.
But that's just like how the big bro, little bro mentality in the skateboard culture works. Is like you're a little bastard until you're not.
So you went through kind of a year of resistance point?
Yeah, putting out somewhere else's project, trying to push it, started working on the next project, never even put that out. Shit wasn't cracking. We were kind of fucking with you at that time. Yeah. We went to my Karen.
Yup.
We went from fucking with it to it was weird, all this kind of shit. So, and in that time, a lot of other dramatic stuff is happening, personal to business, and I'm just like, bro, this ain't it.
Wow.
This ain't it. I'm like, it's time to move. And I was getting uncomfortable. I could see my parents are getting uncomfortable.
Let's talk about that, bro. Wait, like, do you have that intuition of like, because I think it's what's so relatable is like, when do you keep pushing for something and when do you just trust that you got to leap and move on to that next thing?
I'd never want to leave something too early and like be a quitter. Because obviously, like, that's not what I'm trying to do. That's not what I'm getting into anything. But at the same time, I like to be absolutely realistic with myself and my goals and where we're heading.
Basically, like, you know, you're like, this shit wasn't working, so we pivoted real quick. Neuro is like, yo, we want you guys. And then you end up in this baller ass spot at the Sunset Marquee.
Yeah, so like we go to this
working for Neuro.
Our first meeting is at the presidential suite at Sunset Marquee, and it was that was
yo.
And it was like her that was her like when I'm in LA crib, because her main crib is in Malibu. Because you know that 405 is 2 different states, like I've been trying to tell you. So when she crossed over 405, she had another crib, which was the Sunset Marquee presidential suite. So that's where we had our meeting. Chopped it up with her for a bit. And then we were like, yeah, we want to do this. Let's go. Like the next day, or 2 days later, they had paperwork. We signed it automatic. Started creating businesses, all this kind of shit. And we didn't really know what we were signing. We were just signing. We're like, yo, this is crazy. Like the amount of money they were paying us. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
And how old were you guys?
I just turned 21. Barney, he was just turned 24.
That's crazy, bro.
So we're both getting paid crazy, like crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. I was like, whoa. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. So we get into it. We start building. They are investing in us to create a company that's a creative production company.
Did she want like Pepsi to come to you guys one day and do something for Pepsi? Or
Yeah,
like,
we ended up doing something for Nike during that time. And we were also developing artists, and they let us continue to do that. She was also developing artists. Because we were building our shit into it. So like they were doing like, all right, Neuro's going to South by Southwest. And we put our artists performing at their
you did that?
Yeah, we did all that. I'm in. So.
And you guys were always about the art first, I feel like. You know, you were all like, that caliber had to be there. Because I remember one time, real quick, you'll find this funny. Barney did something with an artist that was kind of whack. And he didn't even want his like credits or nowhere on it. Like he just
Barney was, you know, he's
shout out Barney. Shout out SusBoy.
He's a staunch. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a real art guy. Like he put me on this. Like I said, he taught me so much about high art. And I was already into stuff. Like I was into Bauhaus early on. Like and he just kind of expanded that. Like put me on to Gilbert and George and just a whole bunch of Aphex Twin. Like he just put me on to all these like really super left things that wasn't the things that I grew up on.
You weren't really gonna find out about this shit without Barney, basically. I don't think.
Yeah, like to me at that point, indie was like the LA indie scene. Beck and Kate Bush and Regina Spektor, like that. Like to me was indie. Like that was like when hip hop died and all that. Yeah, that was the stuff I started listening to and like then that started being the stuff that got sampled by hip hop artists. Like that's what Kid Cudi was sampling and Drake was sampling,
100%.
like the Colin Monroes. That whole era of like,
Yeah.
all right, hip hop died, and then alternative came, and then hip hop started sampling alternative, and then it got softer with like the Drakes and the Kid Cudis and all that. And then when he put me on the like, oh, this is like experimental as shit. Like this is so left of everything. And he started introducing me to all the We Did It dudes, which his brother is one of the creators. Ground is Lava.
That's right.
Jasper.
Yeah.
So and I met those dudes, and they just like kind of opened up my mind.
So like all that everything you just explained is kind of happening when you're newly with Neuro, right? All that shit's
all
happening.
at the same time. Like we're like, me and him are just, obviously we created a company, so now me and him are like brothers. We're sleeping on each other's couches. I'm going to his crib, his parents' crib. He's going to my parents' crib. We're just going back and forth. We started getting bread. We were like living in the Sunset Marquee too, because they got us a suite there as an office.
You must have felt like, bro, like I'm at the top of the world, right? At that point, you must have.
I remember that, like maybe the second or third meeting we had was in Malibu, and we're sitting down with the owner of Neuro, and it's just me and her chopping it up, looking at the ocean in her backyard, and she just looks at me. She goes, "You know, by working with me, you just basically advance your life 10 years in your career."
Like you're skipping 10 years forward, bro.
Yeah, that's what she said. Oh, I swear I remember she looked at me. She goes like, "Yeah, I advanced your career by 10 years automatically."
Can we call that a flex? That's a flex.
It was like, and when she said it to me, I'm pretty sure I was like high as shit. Because that's another thing. Me and Barney were like smoking a lot of weed. Like Barney, like he was just like his car. He had a Prius, dude. The shit smelled like the inside of a dirty bong bottle at all times. Like it was just like that was my life. I was like inside of a bong water phase. He actually lived right around the corner. His parents were around this area.
That's amazing.
I was just like, it was so. I'm like listening to her say that. I'm like, yeah, that's fucking crazy. And then like I think that day Guy Ritchie pulled up because like Guy Ritchie's kids were playing with her kids. I was just like, okay. What the fuck is going on?
Was Elton John pulling up too? Like no, they were dude, like homies, so, right? Like, yeah,
oh, dude, no. I mean, one day like we had just put out a music video for one of her artists. So that was a struggle putting that out. We finished that night. We go out and we went out. We got lit. We went in. The next day, we get a call at like maybe 4 a.m. They're like, "All right, yeah, we're going." I'm like, "We're going where?" I forgot the night before they she'd been telling us like, "Oh, Elton John's doing like the opening of Red Piano or something in Vegas. We could go." It's 5 a.m. There's like a doctor knocking at the door. They have like B12 shots and all kinds of shit. They hit us with these B12s. I'm waking up since I'm like blind. I'm so blackout. We go on to a PJ, go to fucking Vegas, go watch Red Piano, meet Elton John, meet all these people. I was just like, I realized like, all right, this is definitely a different aspect of it. And we learned a lot again, but that's the one time I could say like not knowing about contracts, not knowing about businesses, we lost like as quick as it came, it went. Like it was like probably like a 2-year stint.
We were still kicking it then, right?
Yeah.
And I remember, but there was this point where, you know, a gun was found in the house. And was that like, did shit go left there? Or was shit already kind of going left?